It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to be discussing WWE Bad Blood 2024 Match Card and Predictions podcast. Myself, Steve, in house with the one and only Mr. NX Steve. We've got 5 matches we're going to be discussing here today, including the Hell in a Cell match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. We have got the Women's World Championship on the line with Liv Morgan going against the challenger Rhea Ripley. Dominik Mysterio, though, will be hanging over the ring in a shark cage. We've got Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. For the Women's Championship, we've got Nia Jax going against Bayley. And last but not least, of course, being Atlanta, we've got Atlanta's own Cody Rhodes with Roman Reigns going against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. So that is the lineup for us there. NX Steve in-house, thank you for joining me. First question is your excitement levels for Bad Blood 2024.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quietly reserved. I'd probably say about 7. I mean, I think there is the possibility of having some good matches. I mean, it's just a case of what happens coming out of the show, really, and like hopefully that we get an explosive finish, you know, maybe a surprise or two. So who knows? But yeah, I'd quietly say a 7.
I am slightly higher than you for this one. I am going to go for an 8.5 because I'm awkward. I can't just give a plain number. I need a 0.5 in there. But also, I just feel quietly looking at this card. There is quite a few matches that I feel like, right, this is a B-level show. And we've got obviously the finale of what will be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. We've got ourselves another Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match. We've got obviously Finn Balor and Damian Priest again, which is these are blood feuds right now. These are very worthy of being on this show. And also, I mean, I've spoken about it on previous videos, and I will do the same for you here today. I think we're going towards War Games with our Cody and Roman team, the Mega Powers of 2024 going against the Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. We'll dive more into that of where I think that'll be heading later in the video. But then that leads to a further question for you of what you think, what you are most looking forward to when it comes to matches. Which one are you most excited for?
I mean, the fact that the Hell in a Cell is what it is, and there's always like a stigma about them that they kind of have to essentially try and do something new with the match, because we've seen quite a lot with these. So I'm interested to see how these two guys can portray a really good Hell in a Cell match, because I can't say I remember Drew maybe has been in one, I think, with Randy Orton, I believe, and I think 2, sorry, and I know Punk's been in, I think, 2 before as well, hasn't he? So they've got some experience in the match. So I'm hoping that they can put something together and have a really good match.
Both of them have lost more Hell in a Cell matches than they've been in. In fact, Drew has never won one. Just a bit of fun facts before we get diving properly into the video. But I'm going to share your answer because I think it's the right answer. The match I'm most looking forward to. Why would it not be Hell in a Cell? Why would it not be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre? It has been the feud of the year, and I am going to stick my neck out and say that this is the final match. It's the rubber match. It is the 3rd match, and I think it will end here. I think it has to, because after Hell in a Cell, it shouldn't go any further. But a question we normally get asked in our comments is what match we think will be match of the night. So, yeah, what would you think will be match of the night rather than what you are most looking forward to?
I'm quietly reserved, and I'm actually going to say that Ripley Morgan has the potential to be match of the night. I think that, especially with the likes of Dominik Mysterio being in the match, that it's going to either be complete chaos or it's going to be completely brilliant, one of the two. So I'm going to put see what I mean. This is what I talk about. Hey, shut up. Like I said, I just think that they've got the potential to put on a really good match, and obviously I think for me it's probably the hardest one to decide out of all of them, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can understand that one as well, though. But just to say quickly, got to love a dog cameo. It's the Larry to your CM Punk gear that you're wearing today. Yeah. So it's the full set. So at least you're doing it properly. Yeah. But I mean, for me, I feel that the match of the night should be Hell in a Cell again. It's that thing. We know that Punk has still got it. We know Drew has been on a roll of his life. So that in my head should be. But I'm going to give the nod to the main event, or what I think will be the main event of this show, Cody and Roman versus the Bloodline, because I think there's a lot of twists and turns and drama and storytelling they can tell in that match, which can be more than just big bumps and more than just a good wrestling match. I think there could be a good story in amongst it as well.
Yeah, my problem I've got with the Bloodline a minute is I'm kind of getting a bit fatigued with the story, and I'm waiting for. I think I'm sure I've said this before. I'm just waiting for the next penny to drop, and like waiting for the next chapter in the story where it develops and it moves into its next phase or whatever. But yeah, I'm hoping, like I said, I'm agreeing with you. Hopefully that they've got the potential to put on a really good match. I just hope that it further progresses this story and this dynamic, because, like, God, I mean, it just even like the fact of Kevin Owens, like, this guy has been tied up in this storyline for 2 years, and it's like, oh, they need to get Kevin Owens to do something new, and it's like they're finally giving him something in a possible heel turn, and it's like, right, they need to start moving the rest of them along now to catch up.
We'll have to wait and see how it will play out. I have my theories for you. I'll be sharing them later in the video. In fact, Cody and Roman will be the main event match we'll be talking about here today. So let's dive into it then and see what our comments have got to say before we get started. Pierre in house says, hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Pierre, thank you for joining us. Kicking it with Leo in house. Leo, hope you're doing well, my friend, and YouTube as well. Subscribe to his channel. It's a 7 for me. I don't want to get all my hopes up with you going into these shows. Totally understand that. It's always good to be sensible. A 7 feels like a good one to me. Hell in a Cell is going to be very brutal between Drew and Punk. Agree with that one. That'll be the first match we'll be talking about on this stream. I want one day WWE does a show at the Sphere in Vegas. You might get your look at some point. Of course, there'll be one show in Vegas next year, which of course will be WrestleMania. Even they might do a sideshow at that Sphere, but who knows? Probably unlikely. 2 Hell in a Cell match with Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley for Drew McIntyre. Thank you there, Pierre, for giving us the other match for us there. Also, feud of the year for him will be Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Hey, it's been a good feud as well. Did you know inside the Shark Cage, the legend himself, Mr. James Ellsworth, was there for Carmella versus Asuka? Enzo Amore in recent years has done that as well for a big Kaz match. Also for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Extreme Rules 2018 was, of course, the match referring to also there. And Wrestling Shane in house, thank you for joining us. How's it going, guys? Haven't been in since SummerSlam. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good time to drop back in. Bad Blood looks to be what should be a pretty decent show. So, Shane, great to have you on board. Hope you're keeping well. We're doing well. We're talking a lot of professional wrestling as always. So let's not waste any of your time. Let's get straight into the first match we're going to discuss here today. And we're going to Hell in a Cell. I probably butchered that, but it's Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. It is the rubber match, ladies and gentlemen. Drew won the first match at SummerSlam, of course. Seth Rollins was the special guest referee during that match as well. But there was a strap match, a Bash in Berlin, where CM Punk won the second match. It was a case of touch all the 4 turnbuckles. And of course, now, well, Drew said it wasn't done after here, even though Punk wanted to turn his attentions to Gunther. He's even name dropped Braun Breaker as a potential future opponent as well. But Drew wasn't dropping it, so we're doing one more dance inside Hell in a Cell. Look, this feud has been going on since CM Punk returned to WWE. CM Punk's injury came at the hands of Drew McIntyre. He prayed for it. CM Punk has cost Drew multiple World Championship opportunities and just opportunities in general. And of course, like we said, we've had the matches, we've had beatdowns, we've had invading people's countries and hometowns. It's all happened with this one. We've even fought over a bracelet. But hey, to borrow something from AEW, I guess we're on the final countdown here. Who is going to be walking away of what I think has been the feud of the year?
It's a really hard one to tell. I mean, like, I'm quietly reserved that this might even still carry on, but the fact that it is a Hell in a Cell match, and Hell in a Cell matches have a tendency to be a feud ender, and it's like, I'm trying to work in my head who benefits more from winning and losing, and I'm like, I find it hard to believe that either of them are going to, like, I find it hard to believe one of them's going to lose, if you know what I mean. Like, it almost feels like this match could or should end in a draw, do you know what I mean, to make it fair. But then I'm trying to think long term as well. And like, I know obviously Seth's just returned and he's kind of all set on Bronson Reed, which is why, again, I think that this story might continue. But I'm sitting there thinking, well, where does Drew go from here? Maybe Drew goes on to Gunther. Because Drew's on Raw, isn't he? Like, I always forget the roster list. Drew's on Raw, isn't he? I believe he is.
He is on Raw, yes.
Right, there we go. We caught on there. Technical
difficulties.
Yeah, so
It's live.
the only thing I can think logically is that Drew is going to move on to the World Heavyweight Championship scene, and I don't know, maybe this is an excuse to write Punk off till maybe May, till Rumble season. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's really hard to decide. Like, I sat there and said that the Morgan Ripley match was going to be hard to call, but even this one, I'm still umming and ahhing about. Like, do you know, I think I'm going to wait for your feedback before I base my answer and give you my prediction.
Seems fair. Okay, well, I'll tell you what then. For me, there's only one answer of how this can end. I think CM Punk walks away the victor inside Hell in a Cell. I think it's going to be a brutal match. I think we are going to get the name of the show, Bad Blood. I think that CM Punk is going to bleed in this. Maybe Drew just might as well. I think it's the appropriate match to do so. But I think CM Punk will walk away the victor in this. I think he will move on potentially to a match with Gunther. I think he could be a next in line contender against him. And I think that when it comes to that for Drew McIntyre, it'll be back to the drawing board. And I think for someone like him, it works to lose because obviously the character will not have the closure that he wants. Therefore, he can continue on the same rampage, if you want, through Monday Night Raw and start having beef with somebody else and then feeling a little bit bitter in the process.
Yeah, do you know what? Now you say it kind of makes sense. Like, I'm sitting there trying to book Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, and it's like, hang on a minute, they're both heels. That doesn't really work. You probably are right. It's just that I don't know. Recently, I feel that all Drew does is lose. Like, do you know what I mean? He's lost matches. Do you know what I mean? He loses like the important matches. Like, he lost both the Clash matches. He's lost every other decent opportunity. He obviously lost against CM Punk as well. And it's like, I'm just kind of like, is there more damage? Is it sort of almost trying to do, like, how do you do damage limitations with Drew if he is to lose? And it's like, where does he go from here? What the spin on the story is, and especially with like all the other story beats that are currently going on the show, it's like, I can't see where Drew progresses from here. I mean, do you know what? To be different, I'm gonna say Drew wins. Like, don't ask me why, but I'm just that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna be different, and like I said, I think Punk can take a loss. I don't think Drew can, if I'm honest.
I think that's fair. I mean, obviously, if Drew, he's the, I suppose, younger competitor of the two. CM Punk's name doesn't get harmed if he does lose. Obviously, you can still build a match with him versus Seth Rollins, like you mentioned there, potentially for WrestleMania. Drew needs that momentum. I think Drew can get the momentum back, say, around Royal Rumble season. I think that's the time that you start picking Drew back up and get him in the pecking order once again for WrestleMania season. I think even Drew would be great for a celebrity match at WrestleMania next year if they want to do something down that line, because he's so savage at the moment with the way he goes in and about things. But I'm looking forward to this one, as I mentioned. It's been a feud of the year. I think, though, it's time to close the chapter. It's time to close the book here. And I think it's time that we move on to something different. So I think that it would be the sensible move here for Punk to get the final victory. How Drew will take it, we'll have to wait and see. But like you say, maybe Drew does pick up the victory. But we're split. What do the comments say? I can tell you there's quite a few that have come flying in for us. Let's see what everyone's got saying here. Will we see AJ Lee show up? Says Sid. Thank you for joining us, Sid, by the way. Maybe in the crowd, but I personally don't see it. She hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously heavily reiterated this week on Raw. So if she isn't going to be there, it's kind of leading me more towards the line that she is due to come back. Which is why, again, I don't think this story is over. So you could be right with Punk winning. Maybe it's a case of Drew finally does do that home invasion angle.
It could always happen. You never know. Pierre wants to see them fight on top of the cell. He loves when wrestlers do that on top of the cell, and there's been quite a few of them over the years. I don't see this one happening as much this time around, just purely because of Punk. I think they're going to keep him in cotton wool. So I think that this one's more that it will stay inside the structure. But hey, I think that, most cell matches do find their way out of it. So let's see what goes down with that one. CD Dog is in-house. Good to see you, CD. NXT, if you would like to...
I was just going to say, if we are going to get like a high-risk bump, it's going to be off like the side of the cage onto the announcer's table. That's probably as high risk as you're going to get.
I would agree with that one. I think that's the sort of area that we would be looking at. CD says that CM Punk versus Drew, the trilogy is one of the most personal trilogies in history. Would have to agree with that comment for us there. Keeping things just on Punk and Drew, because I have a couple of separate questions as well. We'll answer after this. I feel like Drew will get another reign as World Heavyweight Champion at some point, so this loss will not hurt him. I kind of agree with that comment. When it will be, though, is the big question. Potentially maybe a UK show next year, not to get NXT's hopes up. CM Punk wins this. Hey, he needs to look good for his match going against Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania 41. So we have a couple of other questions. I'm going to take Ray's question first. Thoughts of the ring breaking on Raw? It happens every few years, doesn't it? But I thought it was appropriate here. I thought the last Monster Standing match felt very appropriate because it wasn't just the only thing that broke during this match. It felt like the entire arena was exploded at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of like the problem is with that spot is like it's you can either foreshadow it or it's a real surprise. And when you do these kind of monster versus monster matches, it's kind of expected now, and it unfortunately never lives past the hype of the original. Don't get me wrong, it's always cool to see it happen. You know, it's always like, I mean, it always makes me laugh and always makes me die. But like it's obviously it's not the best one that's ever been done. I always appreciate it when the ring completely collapses and like tilts on one side because it's completely destroyed. This was kind of just like, oh, the turnbuckles fell over. It wasn't really as devastating as what they normally are, but I still appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was from the second turnbuckle as well this time, rather than the top rope, which we've seen in some ones in the past. But yeah, I mean, for me, I thought it was good because I'm just happy to see Bronson Reed get the push he's getting at the minute, despite losing the match. He's on a hell of a roll right now on Monday nights, and I'm quite enjoying that. And the return of Rollins as well seems like it's been perfectly timed here. Sid asking, are you happy that the Miz turned heel on Raw? Yeah, he kind of was suffering as a baby face, and it's been inevitable the breakup of Awesome Truth was going to happen for a while. So yeah, I'm all good. I'm on board with a heel Miz. He does his best work there.
Yeah, it's just hopeful they've got some sort of narrative for him going forward. Like, I hope there is a story for him. Like, I really do want to see him, like, you know, win another IC title and become like the most crowned IC champion in history. But time will tell with that one.
Feels like Karrion Kross has made a heel turn and a turn of character without even having to wrestle the guy. That's something that's new on the resume for him there on this particular one. But fun to see. But we'll move on in the meantime. Obviously, we've now cleared up the Hell in the Cell, and obviously we're going on next now from one cage to another. A shark cage. Dominik Mysterio going to be locked inside the shark cage as we have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Obviously, I think this is an appropriate stipulation for this match, just purely on the basis of that. Well, obviously now this match does become one-on-one, so to speak. We know how these usually work, but also the fact is that it's no needed for the gimmick match on this one. Last time Rhea thought Dominik was in her corner, this time she knows he isn't, so it's almost like feels like more of a fair one-on-one match, if you will. But looking forward to this one. The shark cage stipulation is a fun one. Obviously Rhea almost threw Dominik in there on Raw. Liv sort of made the save there the last couple of seconds. How do you see things playing out at Bad Blood?
I honestly am hoping that they do something unique, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen a good shark cage match, and that's my biggest worry. Is that, as though I'm really intrigued by it, I just don't want it to kind of be as let down as like all the others. Like, Dom obviously getting PTSD from being behind bars again will be funny as hell to see. Hopefully he develops a bout of like fear of heights. Do you know what I mean? And that'll be something else as well. Depending on where he's suspended on the arena as well. Like, if he's on the ramp or if he's in like some random corner in amongst the crowd, that's kind of weird. I'd like to hopefully think that maybe he's above the ring, like how I think Enzo Amore was as well. So yeah, it's a very tricky match to book, but essentially this is like a no holds barred match, right? Anything goes with this, because it's like the cage actually there's no stipulation in this. This is just to stop Dominik from getting, like, you could have easily done a cage match or a Hell in a Cell or whatever, but the shark cage is just like the most unnecessary match, really, because like neither of the competitors benefit from it. Do you know what I mean? So, but like I said, hopefully they do something unique and different and make something out of it. Like, someone somewhere has one of them crazy ideas where they're like, why don't we actually dunk the shark tank in a tank of sharks? Do you know what I mean? Just do something crazy that they've never done before. But like I said, the fact that it's going to be Dominik in there, and dude, the guy is funny as anything, and I'm sure he will be able to deliver. And then obviously having Liv and Rhea in there, it's going to be a fun, crazy, hard-hitting match. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it as well, but Rhea's now got a new pin from wrestling Scarlett Bordeaux on a house show the other day. So, like, everyone's kind of flipping out over that as well. So that's another thing to try and look forward to. But, yeah, it's just, like I said, I'm really looking forward to it just because I want to see him do something different with that shark cage.
You've seen too much of that Vince McMahon documentary. A shark cage going in a tank of sharks. It feels like it's one of his ideas that's been rejected. Look, I kind of agree with you. The shark cage stipulation doesn't usually work. I disagree of the fact of being above the ring because of the fact we have the Hell in a Cell there. I think it's hard to sort of put the two structures in the same place. So I think it's going to be in the aisleway if I had to predict. Like you say, in the crowd, I just feel that's a bit dangerous. I think that's unnecessary. I think the aisleway is the best place for it.
I'm sure there was one before that was in the, like, do you know where in the corner of the, they have that, there's always that walkway that the wrestlers fight into. I'm sure one of them was there a couple of years ago. It might have been the Enzo, and I'm not even too sure. I know there was one, and I remember the guy, didn't the person that was in the shark cage escape from it as well? Like, that's the other thing as well, I'm sure.
Probably it was it feels like the sort of thing with, I mean, this goes back to like the 80s, the shark cage, you know, and they always found a way to do something. So I would expect the match to probably find its way to fight in the aisle or something like that, and maybe Dominik drops something out, and that's what helps maybe Liv Morgan, or naturally it goes into Rhea's hands initially, and that's what causes, because like you said, I mean, they could do an extra stipulation, but technically it's a normal match, just a shark cage. So say, for example, Dominik drops in, like, let's say brass knuckles, let's just go out there and say random object, and Rhea uses them and gets caught, she'll get disqualified, like, and then Liv retains the championship. So there is that sort of cop-out way of doing this, but I think that they'll just find a way that Dominik will get out of this cage, because that's normally the way as well. This is a cage I do expect someone to get out of, and I think that Dominik will find a way to help Liv Morgan retain the championship. I think there's still more mileage in the story. Like I said, the third match you can do. Yes, I know we can do where it's like one-on-one and then it's the rubber match. That's usually the WWE way. And I've said before sometimes that it should be 2-0 to that. But I really believe this storyline is one of those that it should be 2-0, because once Rhea Ripley wins that championship, as far as I'm concerned, there's no looking back. It's almost no point doing this on pay-per-view anymore, because of the fact that we know Rhea will be retaining from that point. So for me, keep Liv as strong as possible for as long as possible. Try and keep this new Judgment Day as strong as possible for as long as possible. And the other just note, by the way, that I'm just going to mention very quickly, because, I mean, we've said about Dominik's in the shark cage. What about the rest of the Judgment Day? There's still Carlito, who thinks it's cool to get involved. There's still Jade and McDonough. I know Balor's got a match. We'll talk about that in a minute. So it depends where that's placed on the card. But we'll have to wait and see what happened. But I think the numbers aren't just too much here. I'm going to say Liv Morgan to retain. It just feels right to me.
I'm going to say Rhea wins via DQ.
Interesting.
Because I think that I don't know, because I'm getting kind of tediously bored of this story as well, because it's been the same thing since God knows when now, how long that this story has been going on. It's kind of like, okay, I'm waiting for the next sort of step up in it, and it's like, if you're going to say they're going to go one more time, sure, but I would like to think that this feud's going to end here, and I think Rhea will win via DQ just so Liv can retain and still be world champion.
I like it. I have seen the comments come in before we go to the comments. I'm going to bring it into the conversation because, Pierre, I love this. Just have one name in mind for this match: Raquel Rodriguez. There's been the suggestion of her being a bodyguard for Liv Morgan. Obviously, if Dominik Mysterio can't do the job, and Finn Balor, by the way, said he made a call on Monday Night Raw and the job's done. And I thought that initially was just the fact that he was just putting a ploy out there because of the fact that maybe he was going to come later in the night and help them beat the LWO, which happened. But this feels bigger. This feels something more. Pierre, you might be onto something. And I'm going to go out as far as saying I'm actually going to borrow your idea and put it as the prediction. I like it.
It's going to steal it. Everything in wrestling. I like the sound of it. Dude, like, it'd be nice to have something fresh like that. So, fingers crossed that does actually happen. But again, they need to do something to keep this story fresh, because again, it's kind of getting tedious now because it's the same thing every week. It's always Terror Twins going on a numbers game where, like, every week they get their asses handed to them because they're outnumbered 4-2.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, completely agree with that comment. Just say, by the way, Dominik Mysterio's gone full on Eddie Guerrero recently. He's been lying, he's been cheating. So I just thought I'd steal the idea just to complete the package. And obviously the low riders in there as well. But Pierre, loving that comment.
Dude,
and yeah, go on.
Something I said years ago that they should have done with Rhea and Dom was turn them into the new Eddie in China. And the fact that there's someone finally must have caught wind of someone's idea for the same thing, and obviously that's going to be the idea now. And I actually kind of like the fact that if they do it, and they have Raquel Rodriguez almost has the China character, but like Liv is still Liv. It's almost like a fresh twist on the same idea.
Absolutely, and I think it could work out really, really well. And it's a good use for Raquel as she does come back, because Bodyguard hasn't got to wrestle at the time, keeps her protected while she's been away from the ring for such a long time. And obviously, Liv then has just that extra bit of muscle to keep her just in that sort of strong position just for that bit longer. So I mean, that's a brilliant idea. Really, really like that. Ray is hoping that Rhea wins. To be fair, I think Rhea will win eventually. It's just whether it's here or whether it's later down the line. Did we see that there's dirty Dominik Mysterio toilet paper? I have not seen this.
Yeah, they made a big deal out of it on Raw, and then I was watching some video earlier on, and they're charging $12.99 for a roll of toilet paper with Dominik Mysterio's face on every single sheet. And obviously, Liv is like, this is the closest you're going to get to Dom. She tweeted this. This is the closest you're going to get to having Daddy Dom in between your legs.
Oh, Jesus. The PG era is over, folks. We can officially announce it there. Pierre says Raquel Rodriguez is interfering, attacking Rhea Ripley to help Liv Morgan retain, and Raquel becomes an honorary member of Judgment Day, just like Sami Zayn was an honorary Uso. I like that. I like that a lot.
By the sounds of it, everyone wants to make like the Judgment Day the new NWO. By the sounds of it, just have everyone join.
I mean, you know, you might as well. You need to make them stronger at this point. They're having trouble with the Terror Twins, so I think it's not a bad idea to do so. But also, then Raquel can be the enforcer of the Judgment Day. Imagine it's interfering all of the Judgment Day matches, attacking all by attacking men. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, Rhea's been doing it. Raquel then can just be as dominant. I like it. Liv and Raquel could be the women's version of Shawn and Diesel. Great, love that indeed. Yeah, that's a great comparison as well. And also, this is slightly off topic. Let's go with it. What did you think of Eddie Kingston and Paintmaker Chris Jericho's barbed wire match that had the JAS suspended in the Shark Cage in 2022 in AEW, since we're talking about the Shark Cage match? Honestly, Pierre, I've forgotten it ever existed. I don't remember it.
My brain can't even remember a single detail from that match. Like, I know it existed, but my brain is like, have I actually seen it? Like, my brain isn't good for remembering a lot of stuff, but like, I don't remember that at all. For a second, I thought Pierre was making it up, and I'm like, I kind of remember it.
It's happened. Just don't remember how it ended. I don't remember any of it. Pierre, remind us how it played out, and then that might just tweak something in the brain somewhere. Are we a fan of rematch clauses or not? I am under the right circumstances. I think it does kind of make sense that the champion gets a rematch.
Yeah, I mean, if it works with the story, I'm always up for it. It's kind of like whether they may have to make sure they do it right, like, because you obviously get them times where, for example, Gunther never re-challenged Sami Zayn for the IC title. Obviously, it's something they've tried to now make a story out of, but it's, do you know what I mean? As long as they use it correctly in story terminology, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it depends on the case. Like, if it's like a match, or like you said, the storyline purpose for it, then I'm kind of cool with it. I think, say for example, you hot potato the championship, and it's like you need to keep doing rematches because of the fact you've hot potatoed it 6 or 7 times, which has happened in the past. Then I'm not a fan of it, because then it's like we have too many rematches for rematch sakes. You need to have a finishing date somewhere, kind of like Andrade versus Carmelo. That closing date comes with match 7, but clearly that's because NBA season is on the way, which I'm quite excited for. P.S. I call it right now: Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41. So is it going all the way to WrestleMania? Ray says, I am disappointed we're not going to get the banger match, Sheamus versus Butch, aka Pete Dunne, at Bad Blood. I think it would have been a great match, but certainly will be great for Monday Night Raw as well. Just it seems to be the smaller PLEs we have now with Bad Blood, having been 5 matches.
They're doing the right thing in making both the Raw and the SmackDown special around them by doing stuff like this, like putting Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight title on Raw. Although I think most people, 99.9% of people, will realize Gunther is probably going to retain. But the fact is that they're making them special. So, because obviously there's so many times where we're getting these 5 match card pay-per-views, making these two shows either side special and having like titles on them being defended that are not on the pay-per-view, it's just the smartest thing to do because it kind of makes a weekend out of everything.
Absolutely, and of course, then it drives up the ticket sales as well, and ticket prices, and everything else that goes around it. Bigger venues as well, because you're going to potentially get a world title match on the show before the pay-per-view and also after it as well.
Just out of interest, did you see how much WrestleMania tickets were going for?
A lot.
50 grand for center first row hard cam for Raw, SmackDown, and both nights at WrestleMania. 50 grand. And if you want end of the same aisle, first row, I think it was like 37 grand. It's outrageous.
Green t-shirt dude must have a really good job. That's all I'm going to put out there and say he has a really. Yeah. If there's any vacancies, green t-shirt guy, if you're watching, give me a shout. I'll happily put in my CV. But seriously though, I think that this will be good. And to be fair, I'm actually going to do a preview for both SmackDown and Raw this week with predictions included in them as well. So keep an eye out for those videos when they drop. And if they are something that are of people's interest, whether it's for PLE weekends or for every week, might be something that the channel looks into doing full time. So it's down to your support, whether it happens or not. So this is what happened with that match. Chris Jericho won it because Anna Jay helped him. And I do remember this, Tay Mello getting the JAS out of the cage to help. So now it triggers now. Yeah, I remember it. It was fine. I think is pretty much. I think that it's a very long way you've had to wait for me to say it was fine. Again, it comes to the case of when it comes to shark cages, I don't think I've seen a 5-star.
I don't think anyone's seen a 5-star, mate. That's the thing. Like that's what they've got to do this weekend is go out there and set the precedent for all future shark cage matches. And I don't know how they're going to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll have to wait and see how they're going to do it as well. This is a good example of hot potatoes and championship rematches. Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks in 2016, the Raw Women's Championship picture. And also, see, this is Can't Believe We're getting DIY versus the Street Profits versus the Bloodline in the ladder match for the Tag Team Championships on SmackDown. That is crazy. And it is crazy because that feels like that probably should be on pay-per-view, but it's not. And do you know what? We're getting on free TV, so I'm not going to complain. I cannot wait. One of the matches I'm most excited about, to be fair. Sid asking, is Tyler Bate injured? He is injured at present. I think he's expected to be out for the rest of the year as well. So unfortunately, the big strong boy is on recovery right now, just like Ilya Dragunov is as well. Unfortunately, news dropped on Monday Night Raw. He has done his ACL, so he'll also be out between 6 to 9 months. It looks like the best we can hope for Ilya Dragunov is a night after WrestleMania return at this stage. But let's go back then into our next prediction. The hardest match on the show for me to predict this one, Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Obviously, this one kicking off in SummerSlam when Damian Priest was cost the championship. Finn Balor finally doing the turn. The worst kept secret probably in wrestling at that time period. And obviously, Damian Priest has wanted to get the singles match with Finn Balor, but it's kind of had to be patient doing so. Has had to run through the rest of the Judgment Day members as well to get here. And obviously, Finn Balor has pretty much said that he has no heart. He's heartless going into this. But is he going to be victorious? This is an interesting match to have here because I kind of had this still as a WrestleMania match, but I don't know. To do this here makes me feel like maybe this doesn't go the distance.
But then they have teased in the story that Finn is always going to be standing right behind Priest to stick the knife in. So it's maybe a case of like, this is a temporary end to this story, and then they come back and revisit it, maybe come Rumble season, which then sets up that Mania match. Yeah, I mean, again, a third match in and another one. Well, they're all hard to predict, really, because it's kind of like just the way that the booking's been going, which in some ways is a good thing because it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? I'd like to be surprised or see how they're going to surprise me with whatever the result's going to be. But then sometimes my brain just hurts from trying to think too hard about the logical ways that who should win this match and why. But, I mean, for me, I think Balor has to win this just on the pure basis that Balor, I can't remember about last time Balor won a singles match, if I'm honest. Like, my brain, there's nothing that pops to my head that goes, oh, yeah, that was the last time Balor won a singles. Do you know what I mean? I think that, like, because I'm thinking, like, he lost his world title opportunity because of Priest. And it's like, I think he needs to win because I did like. It's almost like that the Terror Twins need to take a loss on this pay-per-view show, and like the Judgment Day, like you said earlier, they need to stand strong. So for me, I'm gonna go with Balor because like I said, I can't remember last time I see him win.
I'm guessing singles match on a premium live event is where you're going with that, because
yeah.
obviously does get some wins on Raw here and there, but like
tag team matches and all that stuff.
Yeah, obviously tag team matches. I sort of think to pay back last year, him and Priest win the tag team titles, obviously. But as a singles match, I know CD, you're in the comments, you're good with the facts and stuff like that, and Pierre's thrown out a couple of facts as well today as well. I want to say I Quit match versus Edge Extreme Rules 2022 was the last Finn Balor premium live event victory.
Wow.
That's what I want to predict. What is the question? That's my guess. I can't think of a time since then that he's won one. I'm in the opinion with you that Balor needs to win this as well, but I'm going to simply just say that I think that the idea that Judgment Day wins both of the matches, I'm not sure. I think that Priest also needs this as much as
because that's why I said Rhea wins via DQ on the first one, because that's how I get out of there.
And me and you have not agreed on any predictions so far. This is a rarity on one of these. Usually we 5 for 5 agreeing with one another. We are 3 for 3 on the opposite end of the spectrum. But I'm going for Priest to win, but I'm going for him to get a beat down afterwards, even though the numbers, I think he'll overcome the numbers in the match, but I think I don't think it'll be a conclusive victory, put it that way. I think it'll be he gets the job done, but he doesn't get the revenge he's looking for. And like you say, Finn's looking to, just turn on him at every turn. So I think that there'll be a beatdown after this match.
I'm gonna beat CD to this. You are absolutely right. Balor's last win on a pay-per-view in a singles competitive match was against Edge at Extreme Rules 2022. He's not been in many since. I think, to be fair, he's been in a few. But genuinely, 2022 was the last time he won one. And I think before that, you're going back to TakeOver 30 when he beat Timothy Thatcher. Or TakeOver 31 when he beat Kyle O'Reilly. Like, he's had one... Hang on. Just go back a little bit further. Super Showdown 2019 was his last main roster pay-per-view win. So he's had 2 wins on a pay-per-view in 5 years in singles competition. That's insane.
He's not winning. Priest is my prediction. You got to play with the numbers there. I think that but he's good with his certain position on the card, but I think it's criminal he's not won more often, to be fair. But look, as Pierce says, let's just have a banger. I agree with that. Let's certainly have a banger here. It's good to see. Dom in the house. Dom, thank you for joining us. Is bringing back the old school pay-per-view name. Absolutely. Going back to 1997, this originated from as well. Got the retro on this channel of that one as well, if anyone wants to go and check that out.
I'm just glad they haven't got 2 D's in the word bad.
Yeah, that's the only thing they've actually gone with the correct spelling this time. But I like the addition to the Hell in a Cell being brought into the logo, which wasn't there at the start. I thought that was quite nice. But yeah, a couple of people have said, that is the last time Finn Balor had one on a premium live event. Of course, that was with Judgment Day help as well. Ray here says, will we see any TNA wrestlers show up at Bad Blood? I don't see it happening personally.
No, I couldn't think so. I don't think, the only thing you're going to get is Halloween Havoc at the end of the month.
Yeah, I think that's probably a more likely destination. We could have that at this moment. But C Nation says, of course, a lot of people would forget with the tag team titles, of course, which have not been defended that much. Well, he does carry the belt. Yeah, he doesn't defend it very much, but maybe that's a smart champion for you right there.
True. But yeah, every time I see him when they stand tall at the end of a Raw show, as a Raw segment, it's always JD with his towel. I never see Finn's one.
It's just how Finn rolls, isn't it? That's pretty much at this case. But Ray asking another question. Well, as we mentioned, TNA, we'll quickly do this one. Do you reckon they'll ever show up in NXT, the system? I think, obviously, I think it will happen at some point. Everyone seems to be getting a turn. So, yes, I'll say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine so as well. They're kind of just picking and choosing as and when who they need for those moments.
Absolutely indeed. Going on then to match 4 For the WWE Women's Championship, we've got Nia Jax going against Bayley. It's a rematch from SummerSlam, this one. Bayley's had to jump through hoops to get to this one, obviously having to win a tag team match, of course, with Naomi against Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Of course, had Bayley or Naomi had lost that tag team match, they would have been sent for Raw. They were banished from SmackDown, that was for sure. But of course, if anyone had pinned Nia or Tiffany during the match, then that would have led to a championship match. Of course, Naomi and Bayley picked up the pinfall at the same time on Nia, which led to the singles match between Bayley and Naomi on SmackDown. And of course, Bayley picking up the victory, which leads us to this match here. Should be a decent match. It was actually not too bad at SummerSlam. These two have got a lot of previous history of matches together. I will just come out early and say I think Nia is retaining.
Yeah, they just to back on what you said a minute ago. These two have a lot of history. They have a lot of good in-ring chemistry. I'm just very surprised they never did the triple threat. I thought like that was the easiest thing to book, and that way you can protect whoever's supposed to lose this match. But I guess not. I'm the same as you. I think Nia retains. I think the story is more about Tiffany and that briefcase, and the long game is her inevitably cashing in on Nia, I would believe. I mean, I could be wrong, and it can't be. It could be a case of that. For instance, say Bayley was to win here, Tiffany would cash in straight away and win that title. But I think that's way too soon for that story to happen. But I think, yeah, like at the minute, the way I'm feeling, Nia Tiffany is that match that's going to happen at some point. But yeah, there's not really a lot else to go in with this one. It's kind of like, just wait. With this division, you're kind of just waiting for Jade and Bianca to be done being tag team champions and going back to being as single stars again. Do you know what I mean? Really start elevating this women's world title. Like, but otherwise, I think I'd prefer to see Nia carry on as champion at the minute. I still don't think we've had enough of a character with this whole Queen Nia thing. I think there's still more that they can tap into with that, and more that they can play out in the future.
And more of Pretty Deadly as well, please. Segue then. Will Tiffany cash in Money in the Bank at this show?
No, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well, just purely on the basis that I agree with you. I think that she will cash in on Nia, or if Nia drops the title, then it's the quick fix to say, look, we got it back in amongst our camp. But obviously, Nia will be super upset. But I think it makes more sense. They're building towards a bit of a bullying storyline, it feels, with Nia bullying Tiffany backstage. I think they probably want to turn Tiffany babyface, which I think will be interesting. And I think that Tiffany will eventually cash in on Nia. But I agree with you. I think it's too soon.
Yeah, I mean, they still haven't obviously milked the hell out of selling those replica Money in the Bank briefcases yet either. So that's obviously another minor detail we have to take to it. I mean, if they were on Raw, I would have said like first episode of Raw on Netflix. This might have been a good shout for, but obviously being on SmackDown is very unlikely. But yeah, like I said, I think there's a bigger story, and they need to build up Tiffany more so that when that eventual face turn happens, if that's how they're planning to do it, it's going to get a great pop.
Last question on this, just purely because I'm a hopeless romantic, you see. That's why I asked this question. Obviously, real life partner for Tiffany Stratton is Ludwig Kaiser, of course, who's part of the Monday Night Raw roster. There is 2 women's championship matches on the same show here. Obviously, if Nia had a bit of, I suppose, intelligence of don't cash in on me, why not cash in on the Raw championship? But then at the same time, I guess you lose Tiffany, which means you lose your backup.
Yes, but again, as well, for as good as it sounds to happen, I think that any sort of major plot twists or story beats, they're saving something for that first Raw on Netflix. Do you know what I mean? And like like I said, if they were going to do that and have a cash in on whoever the Raw champion is at the time, first episode of Raw is surely the most ideal one to do it on. Oh no, I'm on my own again. Steve's he's kind of. Hello, you're there, kind of.
I am here. We've had a bit of a funny moment. Hamster wheels slow down a little bit.
It's right.
It's all caught up. That's good. That's good to see. Well, I think then that's a
Yeah.
good excuse then to say, help a brother out. Hit the like button on the video, share a friend, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new watching. Anything can happen when it's live, but one thing's for sure, it certainly is always exciting. Steve is frozen, but which Steve? It's me. It's definitely me. Can you still hear me?
Feed them hamsters. I can still hear you, yeah. Like your video is a bit janky and a bit laggy, but I can still hear you, which is the important part.
It's that 1080. You see, it's the problem. We've gone up on the StreamYard world, and it's not giving us back in return what we were hoping to get. But I will read out the comments at the moment, just purely because I think I'm still lagging a bit. Pierce here says my Queen Nia Jax is winning against Bayley. C Nation also has Nia Jax to retain the championship. Pierre did ask about the cash in. I think we've answered that sufficiently.
Yeah.
It says, I think Tiffany Stratton will cash in and will win the women's championship, and Tiffany turns babyface.
You're really laggy now. I've got that last comment where you said Tiffany Stratton will cash in. Yeah. I got that where it said Tiffany Stratton will cash in from Sid, and Sid thinks Tiffany Stratton will turn babyface. Like I said, it's a possibility. I'd like to say I just think there's too many minor factors in that just won't let it happen. Like I said, they still haven't milked enough out of that pink briefcase yet, and that's something that they're going to be they're going to be selling for the next 3-4 months. Do you know what I mean? Christmas is around the corner. It's an ideal Christmas present. You know what I mean? Something to make more money off of.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's an issue with the charger. Yeah, I'm all right now. I can see now, and I can see what the problem was. Nothing to do with the internet. It's to do with the charger. This is not the first time this has happened with a charger, so apologies about that here. But anyway, get back into the detail. We'll get your comments back up. You're not interested about my equipment. PS says Nia Jax has improved in the ring. She doesn't injure anyone anymore, and has had the best run of her career. 2024 was her year. Honestly, she's had a very good year indeed. When Tiffany does cash in the briefcase and she becomes champ, what is next for Tiffany Stratton? I guess she would defend it.
Dude, again, another one that's like, well, apart from obviously defending it, but she's another one like Logan Paul that deserves a custom championship. Imagine a bright pink world title or a women's championship. Just, it would be so good. It's just another one, like something else I expect them to do. But it's getting to that point, and I in terms of booking wise, although she is hot, I don't think she's ready to be the face of the division yet, and I think that's something that, like I said, I think builds for like Mania or whenever they decide to cash it in.
I think she'll be championed by Mania. That's what I'm going to throw the prediction out now. But I agree with this comment. I think it'll be hard to book Tiffany Stratton as babyface, but WWE will find a way. They always find a way. And the thing is, I agree she's a natural heel, but everybody keeps cheering her. So if everyone keeps cheering her, I think that they've left with no choice.
It's always the easiest way is to just book them against someone that constantly gets booed. I mean, by the looks of it, the first storyline, as it currently stands, is meant to be Nia Jax. So if she was to cash in, Nia Jax is the perfect heel for someone like Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. It does help that turn as well. It's a Tiffany Stratton character. I don't know how you'd book her as a babyface. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they do so, but like you say, they will find their way back. Thanks for the updates in the comments, by the way, with the camera and stuff and with the audio. I'm glad to hear that it all is back to normal for now. Let's hope it remains that way for the remainder of the stream. Ray, I appreciate the thumbs up as well. If anyone can hit the like button, it does help the channel massively, more than you could imagine. And thank you as well. CD as well says always likes every video on the YouTube channel. Appreciate it massively and trying to return the favor to you whenever I can. A Barbie title is going to be something absolutely brilliant. Pierre agrees with you as 100%. Well. Good question from Ray. We should have saved this for the main event, really, but I'll do it now. Will The Rock show up at Bad Blood and take out Cody and help the new Bloodline?
Possibly. Like, I'm hoping so. Like, there needs to be a new spin on this story. Like, because again, just another one that's just been repeating itself over and over again. And obviously, Rock versus Cody is a match that they teased the Raw after WrestleMania, and it's like we have to get that at some point. Is it a WrestleMania worthy match? Maybe, but I think there is bigger matches to be made. For instance, Roman versus Rock, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's a possibility, but like I said, I'm hoping so, because again, another storyline that needs to just have a fresh spin on it and add a new character into the plot. And do you know what I mean? Give us a plot twist somewhere.
Would love to see it. Obviously, would never say no to seeing The Rock on WWE TV. And obviously, it's a nostalgia pay-per-view as well. So to have The Rock come back as well, that would be fun in that sort of environment. He would have been a member of the roster when Bad Blood first started. So yeah, that's cool. But unfortunately, me and you've been very different today. I'm going to go on the no side of things. I don't think that will happen. But I do think that The Rock will eventually turn up. And when he does, I think he'll be gunning for Cody Rhodes. Pierre doesn't think that the final boss will be showing up. It's incredible to hear, though, if you smell. Fun fact as well, this is the first time in a while where the men's title match is not on a premium live event. It's very true. There is no men's title matches on this show.
It's ironic that you say that, because Gunther is world champion, and obviously, like, that guy was the one that got the IC title back on premium live events, and I just find it funny that it would be him as champion that's not on the show.
It's like Championship Raw next week. There's so many matches with titles on Raw next week. But we will have time to discuss quickly Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They're going to host Bad Blood. Is there a reason? There's always a reason. Do we know the reason?
They're either teasing that there's going to be a surprise women's tag team title match on the card, which I highly doubt, because at the minute, no women's tag team is establishing themselves as a number one contender for me. So I think it's just a case of keeping Bianca and Jade on TV and on a pay-per-view for some reason.
I guess so. Obviously, Damage Control, I think, are the number one contenders at the moment. So, but I feel that one could be we've had it before. I think Crown Jewel more likely, if that was to happen anywhere. There could be some sort of surprise. There could be some sort of, I don't know, celebrity guest. I know that there's someone's doing one of the theme songs or something on this show, so maybe that's something that they're going to collaborate together with or something like that. But it would be fun if there was something that worked with Bianca and Jade in a wrestling capacity as well.
Yeah, I hope so. But like I said, at the minute, I can't see why. I think it's just a case of keeping them on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because I love bacon as well. Sid, enjoyed the sandwich, my friend. Glad you're loving the stream. Yeah, of course, Raw will be going to 2 hours for the rest of the year as well. Sid Pierre down there, which is very true. They're looking forward to that change as well. EO did be Bianca and Kairi Sane have the right to women's tag team title match. I believe that is true. They do that indeed. And of course, it is the first time Raw will be going 2 hours since 2012. Madness. Absolute madness. But we're here. I thought we'd never get back to the days of a 2-hour Raw. I'm excited for it. And do you know what? I'm just excited to talk about our main event. So let's do so. It is going to be Cody Rhodes versus, it's going to be a tag team match. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Can they coexist? I'm so used to saying them being rivals. They'll be going against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. This one for me, I think, is going to be a fun time. Should I go through everything I see playing out here first before coming to you? As I reckon, I've got.
Man. If you have an idea, by all means.
Well, this is the theory. I don't think it's a new theory for those that have been watching on the channel before, and there's some familiar faces here, so I think you probably know where I'm going with this. But obviously, Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam, inadvertently helped Cody Rhodes retain the championship. Roman then returned again after Cody had successfully defended the championship in the steel cage match against Solo Sikoa. That led to Cody and Roman having the tag team match against Solo and Jacob Fatu here. Obviously, it's like a mega powers as well, trying to take out Solo and Jacob. Of course, this has led to question marks with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Obviously, everyone wants the Kevin Owens heel turn. The fact of how can you team with Roman Reigns not getting, the question's even been asked now to Cody via Randy Orton. And well, Cody pretty much said, look, I've taken Roman by his word, because when he said things when we were rivals and taking it by his word, he stuck to it. Do you know what I mean? Like when he said he would lose the WrestleMania, he'd go away. He did that. When he said he wouldn't have certain things happen, he kept everything he said he would do. He always kept to it anyway. And so Cody says, I'm going to have to believe him or I'm just, I'm either a fool going into this or I'm a coward. Which would you rather be? It's obviously rather be the fool. But Roman is not going to turn on Cody, in my opinion. We've had the cinema where they both met up in the football stadium as well. The fantastic video package. It was really well put together. But the numbers advantage is still there. Obviously, we talk about the bloodline. It is 4-on-2 here. Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, despite Tonga usually being a walking bots job. I don't think that they're going to make the difference here. I think that it will. I think Roman and Cody will win here, but I do think that the numbers is going to be a factor that plays into this. And I think the first person that's going to actually end up defending is Randy Orton, because Randy understood Cody's stuff. He said, look, it's not a problem for me unless it's made into a problem. So I think he's almost willing to go on side here. It's Kevin Owens who's not willing to go on side, but I think he eventually will go on side. There'll be a reason to trust, because they're going to do this in War Games. It's not going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. It will be Cody, Roman, Randy, and KO against this new Bloodline. 4-on-4 War Games at Survivor Series. And finally, there will be some wins and victories for the guys that couldn't get the job done. I'm talking about Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, the people apparently who keep letting Cody Rhodes down each and every time they team with him or they go against the Bloodline. They don't get the job done. They will do in War Games. And I'm going to go as far as saying I think Kevin Owens is the one that gets the pinfall. Therefore, he can finally move on. I think Randy Orton as well then can finally move on from the Bloodline. I think you have a situation where Cody and Roman will have a match, but then I think Randy Orton's going to be upset with that, because Randy's always been by Cody's side. Roman hasn't been. He give Roman the tag team match. He give him the championship match, and that's what I think will lead to the heel turn. I think Randy versus Cody happens at the Rumble. I think that's when we can start then building Roman Reigns to break off and do his stuff separately with the Bloodline that can go into WrestleMania, and we can start keeping this completely with the family. So I'm going to predict here, long story short, you've had a long-term distant future of fantasy booking for me. I am saying to you on this show, Cody and Roman pick up the win. It's in Atlanta, Georgia, after all. Cody is not losing.
What have we done all night? We've not agreed. And the same is not going to change here. I do not see Cody Rhodes being the hometown hero, winning in his hometown. You're insane. It's never going to happen. Look, right, I'm basically going to flip everything on what you've just said. Cody and Roman are going to lose. There's going to be some sort of controversy in there that's going to make Kevin Owens turn around and say to Cody, look, told you he wasn't going to, told you not to believe him, blah, blah, blah. He's a rat, whatever. He stood you up, like he did you dirty. He cost you the match, whatever. And then it's going to get to the point where, sure, like Cody's going to be like, no, Cody's going to have to try and, like, do you know what I mean, re-believe in Roman Reigns again to have this match at Survivor Series in War Games. And then it's going to end up with Cody and Roman losing in War Games because Kevin Owens is going to turn heel with Randy Orton, and they're both going to go against them all. They're both going to turn on both of them, beat them down, lead the Bloodline to absolutely destroy them, and in that way, Cody's got two future competitors for the next foreseeable future. I'm probably making a load of that up, and it's probably not true, but I just like the idea and the thought that Cody's not winning in his hometown. This guy cannot win every match. He needs to lose. He loses tag team matches, so I'm going to put Cody losing. And in the words of Tama Tonga, yeah.
And you did that rather well. Look, to be fair, I've gone on a long-term story here, and I'm pretty sure there's some twists and turns I'm not going to get right from what I've just said. Don't get everything right. I'm fairly confident that's the 4-on-4 at Survivor Series. Now, everyone wants Bloodline versus Bloodline. I think that's next year. If I had to guess right now, it's too soon of a story to throw all of the Bloodline. Like, for example, say getting Jimmy back. Jay's now won a singles title. Sammy's going for the world title on Raw. How'd you get all the band back together that quickly? Plus, with the OG Bloodline, Solo is in the OG Bloodline. He's currently in the new Bloodline at the moment as well. So Hikuleo is going to be part of NXT apparently. So let's keep an eye out for him tonight. There's all sorts of things that are delaying Bloodline versus Bloodline at this particular time for me. and the story is building nicely for Cody, Roman, Randy, and KO. Can they coexist? It's a storyline that we've seen far too much in WWE. It's a storyline I think people are probably sick of. But you know what? It's a strong-looking War Games team to go against this Bloodline, and it does, for me, make a lot of sense. Look, the animal that is Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, he is a big-time deal, and he's going to be the threatening factor for this. If this team is going to win, Fatu is the one that's going to pick up the victory. Solo, in my opinion, is done. He's lost twice to Cody. I even believe that him versus Roman, which I thought was going to happen at WrestleMania, is going to happen before WrestleMania because they've teased Roman and Fatu, and that's the match people want. That is the match I can see happening at Mania. And I think if Solo keeps mucking up, I think Solo's kicked out of this new Bloodline. We've already had Jacob and Tama and Tonga invade NXT without Solo. And I do think The Rock is eventually going to take over this Bloodline. So, yeah, we'll see what goes down. But, hey, we've not agreed a lot tonight. We've only agreed on Nia Jax retaining. That's the only thing we've agreed on the whole show. But you know what? Had a fun time discussing it.
Every once in a while, something like crazy ass like this has to happen. And it's like, yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know. Like I said, the stories are. This is probably the hardest show for me to call all year. Like everything else, I've pretty much had a solid guess on how matches are going to finish. And I think, like I said, it's nice to go in not knowing what's going to happen, but my head hurts from thinking too much.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, to be honest, I feel this show has potential to be the best B show of the entire year. Obviously, it's still WrestleMania. I think it's going to be hard to top WrestleMania. So that's why I'm not going to go for show of the year. But I'm going to go as far as saying this could be top 2 or 3. It feels big, this show, despite the fact there's no World Heavyweight title matches for the men on this show. I think everything they've put on this for a 5-match card, it looks pretty strong. And fun enough, everything around it from Raw, SmackDown looks really strong as well. WWE is having a great time right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially the case that their B pay-per-views seem to be flip-flopping between either a really good wrestling-based product or a really good story-based product. We can't unfortunately hit the nail on the coffin and get the best of both. But I think, like I said, I think this show is going to be one of them ones where it's a really good story show. You're going to have so much developed in terms of character developments, returns, surprises, shocks, whatever. This is that show for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be a good time for it as well. Let's dive into those comments, shall we? And then we'll wrap up the video here today. But make sure to hit that like button, please, everybody. It really helps the channel a lot. Share with a friend and subscribe as well. And thanks to everyone that's had done so already. Really appreciate you people. PS says that my prediction is Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu are winning. Then Roman will not be teaming with Cody anymore because the only way to stop the Bloodline is to reform the OG Bloodline. Hey, it's great in theory. And do you know what? If it happens, I would not be against it. I think that's also one thing I want to confirm quick. Although I don't think the OG Bloodline comes back, if it does, and I'm completely wrong, which I've been wrong in the past, I would not be complaining. I think that would be awesome to see as well. Ray says, people say there is too much wrestling. Do you agree? I like watching. I like wrestling as much as I can, as much as I can watch I'm guessing in a month, I think is what he's saying here. Yeah, I probably think there is probably too much wrestling if you want to watch all of it. But if you can find your selected niche of what you like, I think it's great that there's that selection out there. I mean, I would have cried for all this when I was growing up.
Yeah, man. I mean, I unfortunately have adult responsibilities. I have children. I have dog. I have home. Do you know what I mean? I have everything that has to go on around it. And it's kind of we're in that generation where there's too much good stuff to watch anyway. So aside from the fact that watching wrestling, there's really good TV shows, really good films, and it's there just generally isn't. At some point in my life, I do really want to watch Supernatural. That's 17 seasons. I am scared to start that because that is a lot of time to take up, and it's kind of I'm kind of just power through and everything that's 5 or 6 episodes, like the Vince McMahon documentary, because it's I can get through that in a couple of days, no problem. But it's I'm dreading the fact that I've got to sit there and watch 17 seasons of one show.
That is a dedication at its finest there. I mean, for me, I would say that when it comes to wrestling itself, obviously WWE, I will watch everything. When it comes to AEW, I'm a Dynamite viewer. I don't really have time when it comes to Collision on the weekends as much as I want to. I tend to read and keep up enough what happens, but I don't tend to watch it. Rampage. Rampage never. I don't know anything with Rampage ever. TNA, do my best to keep up as I can when I can. Definitely am around for the special shows. Try and watch what I can in between.
Pay-per-views.
Anything else that I probably don't watch it, if I'm being brutally honest. I will probably watch New Japan when it comes to the biggest shows of the year, but that's probably as much as it goes. But I do find time to watch retro stuff, as you probably see a lot of retro content come on the channel. So yeah, at the moment I'm at snail's pace going through 1993 at this particular moment, which I can tell you is not a great time with professional wrestling. So it feels even longer than probably what it should do. Pierre gives us the War Games. Go on, NXT, Steve.
War Games.
Absolutely. CD says Roman and Cody will win here. Tonga Loa is the GOAT, my favorite wrestler right now. Pierre, you have got good taste, my friend. Tonga Loa being there. CD says I am with Steve. The moment Jericho won the IC title, I knew Bloodline versus Bloodline in War Games wouldn't happen. There you go. Hear me out. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes winning the WWE Tag Team Championships would drive Kevin Owens even more crazy. Hey, to be fair, I mean that's a good shout. That's a good shout. I think that's it could happen. Hang on.
Cody and Roman versus KO and Orton for the tag team titles.
You and CD are on the same wavelength. Look at that. That's good. I like it. Pierre does say that Jacob Fatu is an animal. Sid asking if we're looking forward to NXT tonight. We Absolutely. Are indeed. We have a predictions video for NXT, especially for tonight. So make sure you're going to check that out. It's on the videos on the channel right now. You can just go there, click on the live section, or if you're going through on your phone, it will just be there on the section of where all the videos are at. And I can tell there's a spicy prediction for NXT for this NXT main event tonight with Ethan Page and Trick Williams. It's worth checking it out alone. I can promise you for that. PS says Roman versus Rock WrestleMania 41 is going to happen for me. Would love to see it at WrestleMania 41. Currently it's 42 for me in predictions, but hey, I'm not got my crystal ball with me all the time, I promise. CD says I see the Bloodline retaining the WWE Tag Team Championships this Friday, and then Roman and Cody winning them on the road to War Games to build up the heel turn. Interesting for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, also seeing that heel turn as well. Tama Tonga's dance is so weird. The sound is even weirder, but NXT you do it so well. And PS says this one is for Jacob Fatu. Like Johnny says, Angel with filthy souls in Home Alone. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Keep your change, you filthy animal.
I tell you what, I feel like we're on the road to Christmas. October started. We moved past Halloween and Christmas is on its way. But yes, fantastic. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. It's been great having you on board for this Bad Blood predictions video. We love all your comments, love all your predictions, love all your takes, and some great suggestions coming in there tonight as well. Actually swayed a little bit of opinions and predictions on this show as well. So well done to you lot. And also well done to the man next to me, NXT, who, let's be fair, is my partner in crime at this point. It's great to have you on board for everything, dude, and I look forward to having you on for the next one.
You've got no evidence at all to prove I'm guilty, okay? I might be a partner in crime, but I'm innocent, all right? Always a pleasure, dude.
There's never bad blood between us, put it that way. We'll be back for the review, which will be taking place live on this channel on Sunday. But like I say, it's like beating with a dead horse. Apologies, I've got to say, because it's good for the algorithm on YouTube, which is hard to say as well. Hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. Enjoy Bad Blood. Keep an eye out for more videos as well. There will be some interesting ones coming out for the next couple of days for you. In fact, let me just quickly throw this bad boy up on your screen in a couple of seconds, because we are going to try a new series on the channel. So I hope that you will be checking this out when we do so as well. Why is it not here? I do have the background for it. So let's do it with a background. It is going to be the Mount Rushmore of Hell in a Cell matches. That's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, new series we're going to start. We'll start with Hell in a Cell matches, the 4 best Hell in a Cell matches of all time. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. That'll be dropping later this week. But if you're interested in Bad Blood and you're interested in a watch along, join us tomorrow. We're going to go to Bad Blood on the Peacock or on the network, wherever you are. 1997, the original one, the first ever Hell in a Cell match. We have one this weekend with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. So let's do Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker live on this channel tomorrow. Make sure to join us then. Take care. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good one. We'll see you then. All the best.